G'day guys, JJ here, and thank you so much for joining me for another video. And now that I've got your attention with a big old beautiful giraffe, I'll tell you what this one's about. This is about developing your skills in wildlife videography by filming animals at the zoo. And I honestly think by filming zoo animals, you can develop so many skills that you can then translate into filming animals in the wild. Now last week I filmed some of the amazing animals down at the Mogo Zoo on the New South Wales south coast, which I'll show you now. And then after that we can go through a few things, or a few of my thoughts as to why filming zoo animals is so beneficial at developing your skills in wildlife videography. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that, and let's run through a few points now. Firstly, I want to mention ethics. Although a majority of the animals that you will see in a zoo or a wildlife park are wild animals, are wildlife, obviously they are not living in the wild. So it's really important not to kind of trick your audience, whether you're sharing these things, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You shouldn't lie about the fact that these animals are in the zoo and not in the wild. Obviously, a lot of the ideas and techniques that you'd be using could be translated to whether it was a wild animal or a zoo animal, but the distinction should always be made very clear. Now, what you'll find with a lot of zoos, or at least good zoos, is they're starting to get more into a process known as immersion when they're designing their exhibits. Now, immersion is essentially taking away the perimeters and the fences that you can see in an enclosure or an exhibit and giving it a more natural feel that makes you feel like you're a part of the animal's environment and there's not really a barrier between you and them. A good immersive exhibit can allow you to use parts of that animal's environment to tell a bit of a story. Now, there are many well-designed exhibits that do still feature, enclosure wire, artificial toys, ropes and stuff like you can see with the gibbons here. Then with other shots like the one of the giraffe here, you'd be excused for not knowing whether it was filmed in a zoo environment or in the wild, because there's nothing in that shot to indicate the animal is in the zoo. And the main reason for that is because you can get so close to the animals. You can break the animals down. You'll notice throughout this video that I hardly feature the entire animal. For the most part, it's bits and pieces. So say like the binturong here, it's not his entire body. It creates a little bit of suspense. Same with the red panda tail. You kind of know what's coming, but it kind of adds to the story, adds a little bit of suspense before a big reveal of those animals. Or of different animals, because those are the only shots I got of the binturong and red panda. And the reality is you cannot get this close to these sorts of animals in the wild. And if you do, you are incredibly lucky and probably spent a lot of money and a lot of time getting into some pretty remote areas, because these animals are still surrounded by so much mystery in their wild environments. The Javan gibbons, binturongs, red panda, they're all endangered and found in incredibly remote locations. So often you'll only really get an opportunity to see these animals by photographing them or filming them in a zoo environment. But then if you are lucky enough to go and see these animals in the wild, or even similar species, you'll have a bit of a better understanding of their behavior, how they move, sorts of shots that you want to get. You can pre-plan a lot by using your time filming them in a more controlled environment. And the last thing that I want to mention is that filming animals in zoos is a fantastic way to practice. I would 100% of the time rather be out there filming animals in the wild. But the reality is when you're out in the wild, those animals, their behavior can be very unpredictable. You may get one chance to get a shot off. One chance. And you may never get that chance again. That's just the reality of the game. But if you've developed those skills by filming those animals in a controlled environment, you're more likely to nail the shot when you go out into the wild. Whether it's just knowing your camera and your camera settings better, having a better idea of what that animal is going to do. You can practice certain type of shots, focus on the slow motion stuff, panning shots, movement shots, how the animal moves. You can get unlimited opportunities to practice those things, and hopefully when you get that golden opportunity where you see that bucket list animal out in the wild, you'll have the skills, the knowledge, the experience to nail that shot. So there you go, guys. This one was short and sweet, but I hope you got something out of it, a little bit of value. I guess it was a bit of an overview of the subject. And to be honest, I think it'd be cool to actually maybe do a part 1, part 2, part 3, like a bit of a mini series on different aspects of developing those wildlife videography skills in a zoo environment. So that might be something I'll look into. Let me know down in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like down below, subscribe to the channel because there's heaps more content coming out. Thanks for letting me ramble on, and I'll see you in the next one.